Day, Canada, July 1. USA is July 4. So we're coming up Saturday to our Canada holiday. But today I'm going to step forward from that. Everyone has the history, our childhood history, and I'm going to talk about creating life through community. And I'm going to be meeting with Sasha and Loveleen shortly as well for talking about community. And that brought me to this thinking about how community starts for us. I think that's the best way to put it. So creating life through community. We do nothing. We do nothing all by ourselves. You might say we come into the world alone and we leave the world alone. And in many ways, that's very true. But we couldn't even come into the world without the Big Bang. And that took two people. And we couldn't do that Big Bang and come into life if we weren't nicely tied up in the womb and in the uterus and so on. So community started with mom and dad and the Big Bang and who they were before that and who they were before that and their ancestry and that ancestry that flows into us. Not only from the people of the ancestry, but the society of that time, the country, the location, even the weather. You know, if it was in the Iceland of area, the north of Canada, that life was very different than here where I am, where we get lots of sunshine and daylight and weather where we can grow grass rather than ice. So everything creates who we are. And so life is being created around us, and we are creating life, adding to it within our experience. And so to me, we create our life and we create it in and through community. Our own childhood and our own history is wrapped up in our environment, and our earliest environment that we would know of. I'm not going to say what we would remember, but we would know of and that we experienced, and it is in our essence, hidden down there in our essence, is being in the womb, in uterine. And you know what? It's very safe feeling there. It's warm, it's luxurious. You just float around in that lovely, oily, caring bubble of fluid. Wow. Yeah, I'm fed. I don't have to do anything. I just poke around. And for some, it feels a little less safe, even in utero, depending on what mom's going through at the time, whether it's sickness or abuse or whether she's happy, sad, whether there's trauma, you know, maybe somebody passes away while she's pregnant for you, and that heavy emotion, you know, it's all energy and the emotion flows everywhere, and we've created in that. And sometimes events in our own lives don't make any sense to us. Our reactions, perhaps, kind of like, where does that come from? Our fears or our joys, our beliefs, none of it really makes sense to us because it's hard to nail down how did that get there? Because it's so wrapped, not only in our personal history, but our ancestry, how life was in utero. And sometimes those things that happened in utero, we wouldn't possibly be aware of unless we had heard stories from mom and dad and friends and family about what it was like, and maybe we'd get a little bit of a light on it. So what has all that to do with community and creating our lives? I'm just going to say that the community in which our life was created, that Big Bang mom and dad, their community, their environment came into that Big Bang. And we lived that essence shared and carried it through in utero and out into the daylight when we first, oh man, what's that all about? Can you imagine what on earth our spirit is thinking when we first come out of the womb? It's the beginning of creating community yet again in the visible world, in our feeling world, in our human world. And that community starts at home and evolves out to our neighbors and friends and family. And that goes out to being evolved into to school, maybe in the community gatherings, and from our little school out to the bigger school. And you see our community grows. And when we learn community, the joy of learning community, the good, the bad, the ugly, is that you can go and be dropped anywhere and you can create community again. So community is hugely important, and we create our life based on how we choose to interact and complement or tear down, embrace or hold back. Community. Hope that gives you some thoughts for today. I'm certainly happy to hear what you're thinking, because it is the building of community from the inside out. And that creates the life you experience, that I experience. And I love the life I experience. You can too, you know. It's Coach Sandra, Compassionate Queen of Straight Talk. You can do it. You can reflect and build and learn to create this wonderful life that you choose within community, more community, and the world becomes the community. You can do it. You know it. I can help.